Journey to Lemora, Chapter 11. Poison. An hour passed and Anya still hadn't returned. It felt good to rest after all the excitement over the last few days. Although my wounds had healed, my whole body was aching and sore. I lay on my sleeping bag, absent-mindedly flipping through my mom's journals. There was an awkward tension in the air ever since the night they kissed. Amber was clearly avoiding Nick still, and neither of them would hold eye contact with me. Nick took to pacing around, while Amber dug through her clothes bag. A couple of times Nick opened his mouth as if he were going to break the ice, but he changed his mind halfway, giving him the impression of a goldfish. Part of me desperately wanted to shout at both of them, but they seemed to be making each other miserable all on their own. In a moment, I became secretly giddy about this development, but as soon as that feeling passed, I felt horribly guilty. What is wrong with you? I thought to myself. To our relief, Anya returned to the cave. He must have cleaned off the bloodstains and caught some food because he was looking a little more energetic, however small. I hope you got some rest, Anya spoke to us all. It's time to continue training. Already? Amber whined, sitting up from her bag. Yes, our injuries would not have been so dire if you were better prepared. I blame myself for that. You know how to channel 2 elements, but thus far only Catty has tried to move them in a combative way, Anu explained. I think you all have a good enough grasp on channeling magic to train down here today. We followed him out of the cave and into an open clearing. There were 3 large boulders, which were moved across the snowy field. Anu must have prepared this for us to target practice with, which was impressive considering he was still weak from injury, and a tiny cat. I want each of you to summon your flames and throw them at those boulders. Use your will to entice the magic to bend it and move it the way you want it to, he continued. Once you can manipulate it, any type of magic can become a weapon at your disposal. We did as he asked, summoning our flames as before. Amber seemed natural at throwing fire, hitting her stone in one go. Nick also managed to move his fire, however it moved very slowly. He glanced over at Amber, as if expecting a quip or a tease, like before, but she remained focused on her task. This should be easy for me. After all, I did it once before a couple days ago, although I'd been unconscious since then. I tried to push the flame, but nothing happened. I tried harder, and my flame flickered. Flustered and frustrated, I threw my whole weight into my gestures and stamped my feet. Nothing. Why isn't this working? I shouted. I glared over at Amber. Everything was so easy for her. Everywhere she goes, people notice her. She hijacks my house, my school, Nick, and now this. I thought I was the guardian. I'm the only one with the key. So why is this so hard? Anu approached me slowly. His new form was so light and tiny. His nickname Snowshoe made a little more sense this way. His eyes narrowed and stared straight into mine, and I could tell he was only speaking to me. Catty, if you have doubts, rage, fear, or envy, your magic can be corrupted by darkness. I told you before, this is how Umbra are made, he warned me again. That Umbra, it had fur like... Yes, he was once one of my people, a Rashtalan mage. I've seen so many of my people destroyed by Umbra. Those who didn't die gave in to their grief and fear, turning into Umbra themselves. You must steel yourself. Let go of those emotions, or they will change you, Anu snapped sternly. It was my jealousy. It had made my magic dark and heavy, too heavy to push to the target boulder. I closed my eyes and tried to clear my mind. The thought of Amber and Nick's kiss kept creeping into my thoughts. Let it go. Instead, I thought of my old tire swing. It hung on a large oak tree in my backyard. Dad used to swing me on it, and I would kick the leaves beneath it high into the air every chance I got. I haven't swung on it in years, but I knew it was still there, hanging in that oak tree. It was waiting for me, and so was he. I had found my resolve and tried once more to push the flame. My purple flame roared and flashed into the boulder with such force it smashed it to rubble. I stared into the flames, and Nick and Amber's excited chatter were vague and distant in my ears. Well done. Now let's try to make a shield. To do this, you must say the incantation, Brairala, and manipulate the magic around yourself, like this. Anya summoned a flame which wrapped itself around him like a sphere. We each performed the shield spell in turn. Amber's was brilliantly red, as expected, but Nick's was entirely different. I see. You chose to use water instead of fire, Anya noted. It just feels more natural to move for me. Is that okay? Nick asked nervously. Absolutely. It is your strength. Play to it, he agreed. I made my shield out of fire, and then water. They both were just as difficult as the other. Anu had us practice attacking and blocking attacks until it became natural to each of us. Amber's attack was the strongest. However, Nick's shield was impenetrable. I had the most combat awareness and was able to anticipate what they would do before they did it. I also was the most precise, striking targets dead center every time. The last spell we learned was Jutnir Nazlar. It was a sort of magical storm, which did less damage per shot but could strike more targets at once. Using fire with this technique was very destructive, as the surrounding trees caught fire. When we tried water, however, it created a rain shower that did no harm at all. In fact, it healed the trees so much new growth started to sprout. After we were finally finished training, Amber decided she couldn't go another day without a bath, so she searched the cave until she found a flowing pond, separate from our drinking water. She heated it up with the help of her magic and insisted I take one with her. Girls only. You can use it when we're done, she told Nick, and he agreed to guard the entrance of the cave, well away from the pool. I slid self-consciously into the pool next to Amber. The water was warm and welcoming to my aching body, which had a few bruises. I looked over at Amber. It was easy to see why Nick liked her. She had flawless skin and beautiful long red hair. While she was long-legged and curvaceous, I was lanky and skinny. Compared to me, she was like a red rose next to a dandelion, a common weed. I felt heavy in the pit of my stomach again and closed my eyes. I thought of the story my mom told me as a child of the Queen of Light. She was beautiful and talented too, and somebody destroyed her for it, all because they were jealous. I hated that I knew how they felt. I imagined Amber and Nick bonding for the last 2 days while I lay unconscious. I'm so pathetic. You make a cute couple, I lamented casually to Amber. What are you talking about? Amber sputtered, blushing furiously. I saw you the other night. I looked away, trying my best to keep a straight face. Catty, it's not what you think. These last few days have been terrifying. I thought you died. I feel so vulnerable here, in this frozen hell, away from Mom and Dad and everything I know and understand. Nick was comforting me, and it just sort of happened. I raised my eyebrows, but refused to meet her gaze. I never wanted to hurt you. I know you liked him, she continued. Then why? Why did you invite him over in the first place? I glowered at her, and she stared back wide-eyed. I thought that was obvious. I was trying to set you up, she flared back. Why would you do that? You hate me. You're always undermining me in front of Dad and Lisa. I did, at first. Ever since our parents started dating, my mom wouldn't stop comparing me to you. Catty's a great student. Catty doesn't cause trouble. Catty, Catty, Catty. I'm just a big disappointment to my parents. And to you. You're perfect. At least, I thought that until I got to know you more. You're kind of shy at school, and you don't make friends very easily. I mean, you liked Nick for how long and never told him? I just thought maybe you were as lonely as I was, and maybe I could be your friend. Amber trailed off, looking away from me. Whatever, I'm over it. You and Nick have each other now, I spat bitterly. Believe me when I say I'm not looking for a boyfriend right now. It was just a kiss, and that's all it will be. I looked into her beautiful green eyes, which looked truly sincere. I just want to go home. As much as I wanted to hate Amber, it's my fault she's here. She didn't ask for any of this. What's it like? I asked in a small voice, and a lump formed in the back of my throat. What do you mean? Being everything people want. It's not as great as it sounds. My mother constantly told me, look your best. Beauty equals success. She uses her good looks to get what she needs in life. It works for her, and I admit it's worked for me too, but Mom has always needed a man. After she divorced my dad, she bounced from one boyfriend to another, until she met John, of course. Your dad, he's really good for her, Amber sighed, staring into the water at her reflection. She's been good for him, too. In a lot of ways, Dad waited too long. I'm happy for them, I admitted. Me too, but I still don't want to be like that, always needing someone else. I want to live for myself, not just for someone who thinks I'm some kind of prize, she fumed as she waved her hand through her reflection, making her face ripple and distort. I don't think Nick is like that, and at least you have the option to choose. People don't choose me. I'm strange. I sunk into the pool, my whole head beneath the surface of the water. My dark hair floated eerily around my pale face, and I resurfaced after a minute for air. You've got that right, Amber smirked with a laugh. But strange isn't so bad. You aren't as worried about appearances as I am. You get to be yourself. Still, it must be nice to be wanted. I've always felt so disposable, ever since my mom left. I looked up and saw Amber's eyes were glistening with tears. Catty, I know we're not sisters yet, but I already feel like we are, she confided, and I knew I couldn't hold it in anymore. I finally said what was really upsetting me, more than anything else. I want to find my mom, but I miss Dad too. I'm scared he won't forgive me for leaving, I sobbed. Tears began leaking out of my eyes too. He will, because we're going to get back to them, she promised, and then cracked a coy smile and splashed me with some water. Surprised and gasping, I splashed back. The water was thrashing about violently in the pool, and after we were completely drenched, we both burst into laughter. I can't believe, I choked between gasps. After fighting real monsters with real magic, we're fighting about a boy. I know, it's so stupid, Amber laughed. We got out of the pool and dressed into fresh clothes. Getting a bath really did make a difference. I felt the grime wash off my body, but more importantly, I felt that ugly feeling of envy wash away. Did I have it all wrong about Amber? I thought she was a self-absorbed attention hog, but then maybe I did shut her out before she had a chance. I owe her so much now, too. Despite all our previous fights, she helped save my life. Maybe this is what having a sister is like. Amber finally confronted Nick about her feelings. He didn't look angry or upset. In fact, he agreed it was all happening too fast. As I watched them laugh together as friends, I could still feel the warmth between them. At that moment, I made a secret promise to my stepsister. If Nick and Amber had something real, and that warmth grew into something more, I would be sincerely happy for them. Hello, my name is Ella, and welcome to my channel. Here I'll be sharing with you my stories, artwork, animations. If you enjoy my content, please support me by clicking the like button, subscribing, sharing, or ringing the bell for notifications. Links to my website and social media are below. I will be releasing content in sequential order, so please check for new chapters each week.